Scott McNair, injury attorneys, we fight for the win.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Overruled Podcast, brought to you by the Scott McNair Law Firm. I am David McNair, your co-host, along with my law partner and good friend, Mr. Bradley Scott. Good morning, Brad. How you doing?
Good morning, David. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I just turned 40 yesterday, and so in preparation for today's show, based upon your insistence and strong recommendation, I thought it'd be fun, as you thought. This was really your idea, so I'm not going to steal it from you. It's your thunder. Why don't you tell them what we're going to talk about today?
We just both hit milestone birthdays. You turning 40, I just turned 50 in May. And I don't know if 40 did it to you, but 50 did it to me, where you hit these numbers and you start looking back. You kind of start thinking where you've gotten so far and where, what lessons have you learned that you might want to go to time machine and tell your 20-year-old self, or if you were mentoring somebody, what are those life lessons that you've come across that you know now that you wish you knew then, kind of thing. So it's a reflective point when you hit these milestones.
Well, it's definitely a reflective point from the standpoint that time flies, because I think we met when I was like 26 years old or 27 years old in law school, when you were the managing partner at Favre, Demers, Russo, and Lubbock. And so you would have been like 36 to 37 then. So we've been knowing each other like 12 or 13 years now, maybe 14 years.
Yes, it seems like that long, but yeah, time does fly.
I think I'm weird because I don't get fit. Like, getting older doesn't really bother me. Does that make sense?
You were in your 30s until yesterday, so yeah, it didn't bother
you. Maybe when I'm 50, I don't know, but like, everybody on the team here had a big joke where they all coordinated that they came in with like 10 or 15 presents, and at first I'm like, well, now I feel guilty that everybody bought me all these gifts. They shouldn't have spent money on me. I didn't want to do we do a little birthday celebration for everybody's birthday in the office with cake and all that stuff. But it was actually all gag gifts. So I got a walker, I got a cane, I got some Icy Hot, which I will use, and was a great gift.
You might want to hold on to those things. You'll need them pretty soon.
Some knee sleeves, some skin. A Bass. Shout out to Mandy. She got me a Bass bottle opener, which I thought was quite nice and I liked a lot. And Brad Youngblood got me a massager, which was a hand massager, which I thought was pretty neat too. But I was thinking about this when you messaged me and said, hey, why don't we talk about like some lessons or reflections that maybe you at the age of 40 and 50 you would have told your younger self to consider or do differently. And for me, the first thing that popped in my head when you messaged me about this topic, Brad, was to live your own life by design and not let societal expectations of your life or family expectations of your life dictate what you do. And so for me, in my life, running the law firm now, what that means is like 2 or 3 years ago when we made a shift to go directly into personal injury and to kind of phase out our construction and business practice. It was a very big mental leap for me because growing up in Southern Louisiana, there is a societal stink for being a personal injury attorney.
There's stigma.
Yeah. A lot of it probably well-earned if you look at some of the crap on TV. You know what I mean? And some of the things that some personal injury lawyers do. We have this scandal going on about fake accidents. Like, some of it well-earned, right? But
there's a reason why there's so many lawyer jokes. That's
touche. But I knew then and I know now as we continue to grow and move forward that the kind of people that we have in this building, the kind of advertising that we put out, that it's not that kind of thing and that we do things the right way. We work very hard. We're not perfect. We make mistakes, but we own up to our mistakes. Like, we have core values in both practice groups at the firm. So I knew we were not going to be that, but there is a huge societal stigma from that. And so it's like a big mental leap. And I guess now it just seems easy because I just don't give a shit anymore. But like, getting to that level, there was like 3 things I had to remind myself about, like living your own life by design, whether it's running a business, working somewhere, doesn't matter, but like making intentional choices to make the life and design the life that you want. Our friend Ben Glass talks about that a lot.
Absolutely.
The first sub part of that I remind myself is not everybody is as concerned with you as you think they are. Everybody's worried about their own significant others, their kids, their jobs, their personal lives, what they're doing that weekend. Nobody's sitting around being like, oh, I can't believe Brad Scott's doing Succession and estate work all day, every day. Like,
That's a very important in today's society too, with all the social media, and everybody's walking around with a video studio in their pocket with their phone. So we're constantly seeing what other people do. I came from a generation where everything you did was pretty much private. You didn't know what the world was doing, but now everybody wants their 5 minutes of fame. So we seem to feel like everybody's watching all the time. So going to your point, that social kind of pressure, resistance, that could be a big one for people to have to get over to live their true life that they want. Because they're constantly feel like somebody's watching and interested in what they're doing instead of just doing what they want to do themselves.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, because I think the social media aspect of it gives the impression that everybody is really concerned about your life. Spoiler alert, they're not. Your parents are, right? Your siblings probably are more, not as much as your parents, but to a certain extent, or your close, like truly small circle of lifelong friends. They're even less distantly concerned about your day-to-day activities than your parents, your siblings, right? Like, you have 3 daughters. I know you probably think about the girls every single day, and that's like your primary thing that you think about every day. You're worried about them. But besides you and Marcy and Liz, like, who else, right? Like, who's thinking about them every day?
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody.
So that's my point, is like, nobody, like, do your own thing, whether it's a side hustle, whatever's going on in your personal life, because, like, whatever other people are not as worried about you as you have convinced yourself they are. And the second part of that is, fuck them. Like, people are gonna have opinions about what you do no matter what you do. So, like, why wouldn't you just do what you want to do, instead of, like, I think I read one day an article that like, the number one regret that people have on their deathbed is not, like, it's regrets about, like, hey, I didn't start that side business. Hey, I should have taken that job. Hey, I should have moved there. Like, just regrets about, like, they didn't do what they wanted to do. And so, like, even to the extent people are, like, forget about it. And third, most importantly, is you could be dead tomorrow. So if you could be dead tomorrow, like, why wouldn't you do what you want to do today? And that could be many different things for many different people. I just thought about all this in the context of the shift of my practice from a mixed business construction practice and PI to strictly PI. That was also doing television advertising and doing a lot of marketing, right? But, like, it could be somebody who's, they love their job, but they want to start that side hustle, or it could be somebody who wants to date a certain person that their friends don't like. It could be somebody who, like, just live your own freaking life, because just remind yourself of those 3 things. Number 1, not everybody really gives a shit about what you're doing. Number 2, they're going to all have an opinion anyway, so you might as well just do what you want to do. And number 3, you could be dead tomorrow, so you just might as well live your life.
And tying into that, one of the things you kind of mentioned there, a lot of people, and we do a lot of estate planning and end of life type planning type stuff. And the common theme with people with regrets is it's things they didn't do. It ties to inaction. That's what people's biggest regrets are. And then one of the things I was kind of thinking about as far as the life lessons and kind of what I preach to a lot of people is a lot of this inaction comes because people fail to make decisions. Because people always feel like they have to make the best decision in order to move the ball forward, and they're very indecisive. And the thing I always tell people is embrace making mistakes. Mistakes are great. There's good decisions, there's bad decisions, and there's no decisions. The worst thing you can do is not a bad decision. The worst thing you can do is a no decision. Because even if you make a bad decision, you're going to learn from it, and the next iteration of the decision is going to be a better decision. Yeah. You always want to be failing forward and moving the ball forward at any given time. So, like I said, people's biggest regrets is inaction. The way you fix that is by making decisions. So that'd be the life lesson. One of the life lessons I would tell people, and something I wish I'd learned a lot stronger when I was younger, is just make a decision, move forward, figure it out as you go along. The old adage is, jump out the plane and figure out the parachute on the way down sometimes. Yeah. That's sometimes the best advice you can give. But too many people have that paralysis of analysis. They just sit and try to figure things out. And 3 years later, they have the same decision in front of them, and they haven't moved the ball forward. So that's what I tell people. Make decisions, whether good or bad, make a decision, move it forward.
Well, if you make the mistake today, you learn something now, or you can learn something later, right? So I'd rather learn now than learn 3 years from now. And a good friend of ours, one of my role models in the legal industry, John Chazel famously made a comment at a conference I was at, and I've never forgotten it, is the right decision 3 months late is still the wrong decision.
Absolutely.
And it's just a great succinct way of emphasizing what you said, like make a decision. Don't you think, though, that some of it, Brad, is people's inability to manage fear?
Oh, absolutely. But if you really look at it and what is actually the absolute worst thing that would happen from this decision, a lot of times it's a lot more survivable and palatable than you think.
Yeah.
So people have this irrational fear, but they don't like quantify the fear and what is actually the worst thing that would happen. And most of the time when you do that analysis, it makes the decision-making process a lot easier. Just jump.
Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes and delayed a lot of things in my practice, over the years, most of which have been in practice with you, 10 of my 14 years in practice. But a lot of mistakes and a lot of errors. And the only one I really regret was like delaying making the decisions, because for so long I was operating from a place of fear and indecisiveness. And once I left that place, it's just so much better,
And the decision-making process, it's like a muscle.
Yep.
You have to exercise it.
Absolutely.
If you're not good at making decisions, you get better at it by making decisions, even small things. But repetitions, make decisions, keep moving.
Any other lessons that you can think of?
One that I've learned later in life is, I call it my hell yes rule. So, a lot of times you'll be thinking about wanting to do something or start something or setting a goal or something, and you could be wishy-washy and you're not sure if you want to do something or commit to something. My rule has been lately, unless it's a full body hell yes, it's a no. It simplifies decision making so much, and it really helps you move the ball forward, like you just in decision making. Hell yes. If it's not hell yes, it's no. Move on to the next thing.
I like that. Miles, what are you learning from this discussion? You're too young to have any life lessons, really.
Oh,
y'all are so much older than me. So one of my favorite quotes, and y'all kind of hit on it, is so Ty Cobb, famous baseball player, played a long time ago, over 100 years ago. Famously, not a very nice man.
Really, I didn't know that.
Would spike people. Oh yeah, very dirty on the ball.
Did you know that, Brad? You're a baseball fan.
On the ball field, and apparently some of his last words in deathbed was, "I just wish I was a little nicer." I don't know why I always come back to apparently like a very sour man, but it all kind of came down on him, and apparently the last couple months of his life he really turned it around. But anyway, yeah, my biggest thing coming through here, it is really hard just coming and like managing fear, because you want to do well, right? Especially as a young professional, and I get it, y'all have been crushing it for a long time, but you obviously you
Not
were there
always.
before.
We made a lot of mistakes.
So that's the thing.
You haven't seen
We
them
made
all.
all mistakes multiple times.
So
Then we repeat them.
Yeah, well, that's the point. And you brought it up. I think almost the most important thing I've found now is repetition. You could do something really well or tell yourself one thing, but you got to remind yourself, like, you're right, it doesn't matter. But you have to say that every day. Like, I really try at least once, I really try to do it once a day. So you wake up and you say 3 things you're grateful for that day. And then it just makes it impossible to forget and take anything else. Because you could do something well one time, like you and Brad said, and then you mess it up, and then you mess it up again, which is fine. But if you don't repeat to yourself that, like, hey, it's all right, just keep moving on, you kind of get stuck. At least for me, I've found that I like saying things out loud.
I thought you had a good one, though. It's like, just be nicer to people.
Yeah.
Especially intuitive. Intuitive's not the right word. Especially instructive in what we do for a living, right? We're in an adverse litigation process a lot of times in our cases, where the parties are adverse,
situation most of the time, yeah.
all high conflict, easy to be rude to the lawyer or disrespectful. They can get on your nerves, but like for me, I've like really used the exercise of thinking about, I know this sounds corny, Ted Lasso. It's like, just be myself, like be nice, like being a mean to a lawyer is not going to move the ball for the client. It's not going to really do anything. So, like, I'm not going to be different because there's a jerk lawyer on one side. I'm going to kill him with kindness. And eventually, what I found over the last couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years, we've generally been able to employ that. We're not perfect. We make mistakes, right? We lose our cool. But that it makes the other lawyer nicer because they feel like a jerk.
Yeah, they'll come around to your way of doing things.
Yeah. So, anywho, good comments, Miles. Anything else you want to share, Brad? You are the the old guy on this.
The eldest.
You were the elder, so I would
Elder,
suspect
thank
you'd
you.
have more
Yeah, I have
wisdom.
the haircut to prove that.
I would suspect you'd have more wisdom to grant us from the high of the Himalayan mountain that you sit on with the other
They
elders.
pull out my stone tablets and thumb through them real quick. Yes, but another one which I think a lot of people get hung up on is people. It's the difference between doing the small things consistently all the time, and then people always looking for the home run.
Yeah.
People think success is tied to hitting home runs and the big wins. That's not where success comes from. Success comes from little small things done repeatedly over and over that's building towards a goal. And I always tell people, if you tell me what your daily routines are and your daily habits, I can tell you how successful you're going to be and how much money you're going to have in your bank account. It all comes down to those small, repeatable things that you do. If you have bad habits or habits that are not optimized that you repeat over and over, those compound over time to bad results. Likewise, on the opposite side of the coin is if you have small things that you do regularly, even little things, but you do them repeatedly, they compound over time. And that's one of the hardest things to teach younger people because they don't have that long-term view of things. In our society, everything is instant gratification. It's quick. It's easy. Everybody's looking for the hack. That's not where success, in my experience, comes from. You have to figure out. And there was a book a long time ago which I recommend as a read. It's called The One Thing, and it's kind of like distilling things down. If you have a goal, what's the one thing that I can do repeatedly that may be easy not to do, but if I did, it's going to move the ball, move the needle, and make a big difference in my life and my success. So that's what I would tell people. Focus on little things. Think small to get big results. That's some wisdom that I learned a long time ago, but I wish I would have focused more on it.
Yeah, I wish I'd have really been taught, like in school, or that we understood the power of compound interest, like in basic investing into like an S&P index or like a Vanguard, just mixed stock index fund. Because really, now that I've turned 40, the big terrible part of that is that like a 20-year-old has like double the purchasing power of me if they invest monthly. And it doesn't have to be like, look, when you're 20, you don't have much money, right? But if you could put
$10 a day, I mean, that's simple. It doesn't take much. It's the small things that add up cumulatively to big things.
100%. One that popped to mind too when we were chatting was when I was younger, I used to let like something goes wrong in a case or something goes wrong in interaction in my morning or something blows up in the law practice, right? I used to let that kind of ruin my whole day. And a couple years ago, I read something that really gave me a good perspective on it, which is like, think of every day as a game. Like if you losing in the first quarter of a football game, do you like just give up and the game's over? No. If you have a shitty morning and something, you spill your coffee on you, maybe for me, you go to court and you lose the hearing. You got a client blowing up your email and it's not even 10 a.m. and you're like, well, this day's off to a terrible start. Like, don't let that crappy morning derail the rest of your day.
Yes.
So.
You have to have resets. And for a long time, I've always treated my days as 2 days. I have my lunch is my pivot point. I have a day in the morning and I have a day in the afternoon. I want to win both of them, if not one of them, each and every day. So, breaking into smaller groupings of, hours makes it a lot easier to compartmentalize. So if something happens bad in the morning, that's fine. I'm going to have a reset at lunch, and then I'm going to win my second day in the afternoon. So it's a little tip, a little hack that I use to kind of get past those things. Because look, crap's going to happen every day.
Yeah.
Things that we don't plan for. It always things that you get thrown off script. Take the opportunity to reset and get back on script. Have those break points.
Great comments, great thoughts. Miles, how old are you? 26?
Turned 28 in September.
28. Okay. So Brad, now I'm 28 and you're 38 from now moving forward. I'm not 40. You're not 50. We're just going to treat each other like you're a 38-year-old and I'm 28. Me and Miles graduated Jesuit together. It was a great time.
He wishes.
I wish. But no, I think, happy birthday as the elder. And thank you for the birthday wishes yesterday. Looking forward to a good year, and I know you are too.
I hope you enjoyed yourself yesterday. It's a big turning of the odometer when it turns to 4.
We got to spend a bunch of time in Wyoming for my friend Andy's daughter's wedding, so it was a great trip and kind of like a great way to celebrate the birthday just because you're out in the West, if you call it, or in Teton National Park. Pretty amazing. So.
Yes, absolutely beautiful place. But hopefully people get a little value from some of these things, and just remember the clock. It doesn't slow down. The clock speeds up the older you get. So time is precious. Treat it that way and enjoy every moment you can.
And you're living what you preach because, just a little parting note, little Avery, how old is Avery now?
Avery is 6.
And she's already got to experience Fenway Park with a walk-off home run over the Green Monster last week with you. So
yeah, she's basically ruined for baseball now. She loved it, but she's ruined. She's
I
never
still hadn't been to Fenway. She's
Fenway.
Precious, so I'm not going to be
While
mad
eating
at her.
a Fenway hot dog and a lemonade and popcorn and Cracker Jacks. And by the way, those guys make some serious money off the concessions.
Oh, yeah.
Serious.
Well, it's been a great discussion. Hope everybody got a little bit of something out of this, maybe a small little life lessons from me and Brad's old age. But thank you once again to everybody for tuning in. This has been a great discussion, an episode of the Overruled Podcast brought to you by the Scott Vicknair Law Firm. We hope to have you next time and see you later.
Y'all take care.
Scott Vicknair, injury attorneys, we fight for the win.
Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action.